Hello and welcome to our complimentary webinar, which is brought to you today in partnership with USU, and it's entitled Why Nespresso Relies on Knowledge Management to Increase Customer Satisfaction and Wins. In the spirit of reconciliation, Auscontact acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders, past and present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. Today's webinar will run for 60 minutes, and during that time, with the help of today's special guests, Patrizia and Nicola, we hope to spark your interest and engage you in the conversation, as well as provide you with some ideas to take back to your respective businesses. To round off the session, we'll be having a Q&A. I'm Fiona Keogh and CEO of Auscontact and your moderator for today. So with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our two speakers for today. And they are Patrizia Ledermann-Gerosa, Enterprise Support Specialist, Nespresso Deutschland, and Nicola McDonald, Head of Knowledge Management at Customer Driven. Now, before we launch into the lovely discussion between Nicola and Patrizia, I'm going to ask you guys to do some work. We're going to run a poll. Jess, can I get you to launch the poll? And the question that we need you to answer today is, you can only pick one of these. Are you currently working with a knowledge management system? You say, yes, I am. No, but we're thinking about it, or we're on our way there, or no, not yet. Oh, we're getting a pretty solid response here. Wow. Wow, wow. I'm not sharing it yet. We're going to wait another couple of seconds and give a few more people a chance to answer. Brilliant. Jess, can you close the poll and share the answer? Oh my goodness. 85% of our audience are already using knowledge management. Why are you here? 13% say no, but we're thinking about it, or we're on our way there. And 2% no, not yet. So there you go. We've got a great spread of people in various situations. So with that, I'm going to hand the microphone to Nicola. Welcome, Nicola. Good to see you again.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Fiona. Thanks for having us here today. So for anyone who hasn't met me before, hi, my name is Nicola and I'm the Head of Knowledge Management at Customer Driven. Customer Driven are a customer management consulting company. We have quite a few different areas that we can help support businesses in, my area obviously being knowledge management. So today we are really here to speak to Patrizia, so I'm not going to spend too much time harping on about my two slides. But I suppose when we do think about KM best practice, there are a number of key best practice areas that do come to mind. So this does include, our best practice tools, our best practice writing standards, and also our best practice maintenance. So Customer Driven do speak to a number of clients, and anyone who has spoken to me, you'll hear me speak about our KM8 methodology. And these are the 8 elements that we look for in a KM application. We look for when we are setting up our writing standards, and also what influences our best practice management as well. So when we are talking in these areas, we do talk about the actual content. Obviously, content is critical to a knowledge management application. We look at what feedback functionality exists and how we best manage feedback through the tool so that we can support our end users. We talk to things like announcements. Are we able to do that through the application? One of the key things that Customer Driven does look at is our users and roles. So can we permission content down to make sure it's easy for our users to find the information that they're after? And then following those 4, we've got things like analytics, our first level support and triaging. What does release management look like in this application, and how do we best manage that for our users? And then finally audits, which is one of the pieces that generally does get left to the sideline when we do get busy, but one of the things that is really, really critical to maintaining a good and healthy knowledge base. So yeah, this is our methodology and all of the things that we look to and look to influence when we are discussing KM applications and best practice. And so today we are one of our partners, which is USU, who are sponsoring this webinar today. We know that they definitely adhere to those standards that we look for. So when we do look at the USU Knowledge Management application, you know, there is quite a bit to this KM tool, which is really quite exciting. They are progressing into this omni-channel area. So we've got our service center KM, so our traditional KM application to serve our contact center agents. They can also, they've got quite a good self-service suite to push content from our knowledge management application out to our end users, our customers, sorry. So that could be via the web page and interacting with different web pages in that way. We've also got the chatbot. So USU has their own chatbot, but they also interact with or integrate with any other chatbot that an organization currently is utilizing. And then we've got things like our voice bots, our social services, email management, and our ticketing CRM integrations. And I'm sure there's many, many more to come. We were hoping to have a USU member with us today, but unfortunately they were not able to join us. So hopefully on the next webinar, we'll be able to get a bit more information on some of those integrations. But in saying that, I would obviously like to wind up on the customer-driven side and really get deep into the Nespresso story that we've got to tell you today. And we've got Patrizia joining us. I think it's almost 7 a.m. her time, so we appreciate her waking up early to join us today, Patrizia. As I said, we are jumping into Nespresso. Did you want me to click play on that video now, Patrizia, before we start chatting?
Please.
Beautiful.
With every cup, we cultivate some of the finest coffee in the world that preserves the best of our world with human care and creativity. With every cup, we elevate every coffee moment into a movement with taste and purpose. Protecting what's precious to ensure exceptional quality. Celebrating farmers as artists who craft rare coffee. Reviving devastated farmlands to grow new beginnings. Transforming capsules into infinite possibilities. With every cup, we continue a journey that started 30 years ago with millions of coffee lovers. Because with every cup, precious coffee preserves the beauty of our world. Nespresso. What else?
That's definitely made me want a coffee today.
Yeah, and I hope that not everybody left and went to grab a coffee now.
Hopefully they're still with us.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I introduce myself. I am Patrizia, and I'm working for Nespresso since over 10 years now.
With every cup.
I can't get to the next slide. There we go. Sorry, Patrizia.
No problem, no issue. Nespresso has a long story since 1986. It was founded by 5 employees. And then in 1998, we started with our first website. And George Clooney began to work for us in 2006 as part of a Nespresso brand ambassador. Here it was for us, we chose him because he was drinking Nespresso coffee already before he became ambassador. So this was one of the points. It was important for us that the person who wanted to be ambassador for us, or who we asked to be ambassador for us, already knew and already was drinking Nespresso. In 2010, we opened the 200th Nespresso boutique in Shanghai. And 2021, we started with knowledge management.
Wow, that's been quite a journey, and it's 2021 with your knowledge management commencing, and now yes. I see 2022. I believe it's in flight and in use.
It is.
Yeah,
it is, and we're working with it since 6 months, because the start was in 2020, but starting in a big company with a new tool, you need so many OKs from the different department, so that we could start in 2021 in June to fill in the knowledge base, and the go live was in December.
Perfect. Wow. Well, I suppose to frame up our conversation today, I suppose you and I just having a discussion around what your journey was to date and how you got from 2020, from when you started those conversations, through to 2022, when your team are using the tool and loving it. So let's jump into some of these slides. So can you, just to start with, can you tell us what your knowledge management approach was at Nespresso prior to actually working with the USU application?
Well, we didn't have a real knowledge management. What we did was an information tool. So it was not really a tool. Also at the beginning, it was a PowerPoint presentation what we gave to our employee always if something new was coming out, a new machine, new coffee, or a new marketing. And everything went per email, and at least all these people had to know everything by heart when working in customer service.
Wow. I think you were telling me a couple of days ago that your PowerPoint document was, what, 200 slides worth of information from memory?
Yeah.
Quite a large document as well.
Terrible for the poor people who wanted to, if you had some issues with your machine, we had a slide of 200, we had 200 slides in a PowerPoint, so they have to search for the right one at the beginning when to know what the machine has and how they can help people further if they had some issue with it, or if something was not working how they wanted. So it was really, really annoying for the people waiting in line for the employee has the right solution for him.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine. So prior to moving on to USU, while you were working through your PowerPoints and your other Microsoft documents, what were the issues and challenges that you were experiencing at that point?
Well, the problem was we had to, if we had new employees, or if you have, we had to inform them when they begin when they start to work for us, they had to have a lot of information. So we have to give them 3 to 4 week everyday information input, so that they have to know everything by heart, and only the important thing or the new thing comes then per email. So until they could start really working, you had a lot of time. You have to give them a lot of time. Then the information, we have boutiques, we have a CRC, so a customer relation center, and we have salespeople, and not always the same information reached them on time, so that we had the trouble that same person who went to the boutique and then phoned us didn't receive the same information at the end, and this was not good at all. We had a lot of problems to deal with, until we get the knowledge base.
That conflicting information can be really difficult to manage if you are in that situation that you've come from. Beautiful. What were the solutions used in the Nespresso group for knowledge management and customer relations? So I know we've spoken about the PowerPoint. What other types of documentation were they accessing?
SharePoint. We had a SharePoint. yeah, like working in the 80s. It was, we put everything in a SharePoint. No, first of all, we worked only with Outlook and PowerPoint.
Wow.
Then we started to work with SharePoint and structured everything in the SharePoint. But here also you have the issue that you can't give the information the person needed, the phone, in a quick time. So they had to read a lot of paper and a lot of information until they could help the customer. So it was always an issue we had. It was discussions over discussions, what to do, how to do it better, and how to improve the SharePoint. But it's really not a solution at the end.
No, yeah, we do speak to a lot of people that are coming from a SharePoint, and I mean, the search on itself can be really difficult for your agents to try and search for information. Yep. So yeah, that's typically one of the main reasons that a lot of people start to consider an application like USU.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you did start this process and start to consider, you know, a contemporary knowledge management solution to move from SharePoint, what were the market players that you actually interviewed in order to discuss your needs and see who was suitable?
Well, all around the world, we searched for information and for best practice. Internally at Nespresso, nobody seemed to know that the knowledge base would be the best practice for us. But we saw it in other countries. So I started to search for knowledge base by Google. And then I found out some. I found out one in Australia, and I found then in England, and I found USU also because USU was already a name in Nestle company used by another, but not using the knowledge management. So they used something else. And don't ask me what, because I don't remember at the time.
That's okay. I know USU has quite a few different applications.
Yeah, that's it. So we started to let us show what was possible with the knowledge management, and we were so grateful to see everything what was possible, everything that we could make better for our employee. So it was really, really amazing.
So as we've obviously discussed, Nespresso is a worldwide brand. I think my family personally owns multiple Nespresso machines, so it's definitely infiltrated its way around the world. And you are known and recognised for the quality of the products in particular, but also the quality of your customer service. So with that understanding of what quality means to Nespresso, what is it that you actually expect from your partners when you sign up to work with them?
It's we sell a high-end product. It's really a very, very good coffee, and we have to we want to be also we have this high sorry, my English is not the best, and I'm so sorry, I'm struggling at the moment, but we want really to give the best customer service, and we really trained our employee really to be empathetic, to be nice, to be to give everything to the customer he wanted to have, and to and to give him also the right solution, because you can be nice, you can do a fantastic customer service being nice, but ask him in for waiting for a response until you have one. But we wanted to have a nice customer service and give him at the moment he called us the right solution. So this is the thing we wanted to do, and that's why we decided to go for knowledge management.
Beautiful. So you've already touched on this a little bit, but so you've been working with USU as a big umbrella brand, and for anyone in Australia that doesn't really know USU, they do a lot more than just knowledge management. So the Knowledge Centre is just one single portion of what USU as a total brand do. So you've mentioned that you were, as Nestle, were working with USU since 2011. And then we interacted with them in 2021 around their ability to support with KM. What was it? What were the features or the differentiating points that made you choose USU?
Well, the most important was that everything we ask, they never said it's not possible or we have to see if, never, ever. Everything we ask them, if they have different points you need in knowledge management, they always said, yes, we have, or if not, we can do that. And people are so nice also, always helping us, always being there for us, doing everything. So it was really, it was not only the solution that they presented was nearly perfect, but also the people working for it. So this was the point, who at the end let us choose them. It's not always looking for the price. It's the solution itself. We had the possibility to have an own server with USU, what is not possible with other people giving us a knowledge management. And for us, it was important that our customer and our information were only, not only, the information for our customer were only in a server to us.
Dedicated, yeah, definitely.
Dedicated to us, yeah.
Beautiful. So once you started the journey of understanding what was possible in the world of a knowledge management application, were there any specific features that you ended up looking for in a KM tool? For things like our decision.
Well, yes, it was the possibility for the employee, when he gets a question from the customer, to really get fast to the answer. And this is real, it's possible with knowledge management. You have the possibility with active documents to arrive there, just to see the customer ask the question, you put in the information in the KM, and it gives you only the information you really need. So you don't have random information, not interesting for the customer. He doesn't stay a lot on the phone with you. He has his information, and he has this feeling that he was understood, and he was and we will take care of him. And this is very, very important for us. Because if you call somewhere and as a customer, and you don't have this right feeling that they can help you further and that they will help you further, it's not a nice customer service you give them.
No,
so
definitely.
This was the main point. Sure, chatbot was a second one, because we want to introduce it also. So to give the customer the possibility to feel at home also if he is going on our website. But the main point was to get really to give this feeling that the customer, that he was understood and that he will be helped.
definitely. I think I mentioned to you last time we spoke that I have previously been in a contact center, and I used to always say, I think the answer is this. And I would just get customers being like, well, can you transfer me to someone who knows if you don't know? Yeah. So having that knowledge base that actually gives that answer, you know, is supporting your agents to say this is the answer and have that confidence so that your customers feel, as you're saying, that they've been understood and that the answer they've been given is the correct one.
Yes.
So throughout your journey, do you remember how many documents you ended up migrating over to the KM application and how easy that may or may not have been?
A lot. We have about 700 documents, also 300 pages long, that we had to insert in the knowledge base, but it was really, really easy. The only thing that we have to think about was which document do you really need to give this information, because you have a lot of different documents doing different things. And we knew that we would like to use the news document, for example, so that this news could be shown in a calendar. We need that for our marketing, so that the people could see exactly, okay, we can give this and this machine for this and this price on this timeline. Excuse me. And we can give coffee on this timeline if the people asking, seeing the timeline and seeing the product we could give. So the marketing is also always put on this
the
calendar. Yeah. And the other things like machine information, or how do they do a pickup, or how do they inform a customer about an invoice, etc. There we needed another type of document. It shouldn't be on a calendar, but it should be easy for them to pick only the information needs. So then we had another sort of document. So this was really the hardest thing we had, but it's not hard at all. It's only a thing of how do you do it and how it is easy for the employee to find it.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
all.
I mean, we support a lot of customers through that transition from an old environment into a new, and that is always wrapping your head around how the new design is going to work, or as you're saying, what different document types exist in your new environment, and how do we best use those documents to ensure that we're providing your agents, I suppose, that quick answer, so that they can just do a search and they're easily finding the information that they're after.
Yes.
So at this point, are there any other solutions that you've integrated your USU KM platform with?
Well, we are at the moment in the tests for the chatbot.
Exciting.
And we want to go to the chatbot live at the end of the year. So I hope everything will be okay until there. The issue is at the moment internal. It doesn't have anything to do with USU. The problem we have, Nestle is a really, really big company, and we have to have the go from our HQ as a headquarter in Switzerland. Then, as we are parked in Germany and we work for Nestle Germany, we have to have the go from IT Germany. And then we have to have the go from Nespresso IT and Nespresso Work Council. So as at the end, I hope I have everything on, and then we can start because to integrate the chatbot, if you have everything, it takes a few minutes.
Yes, it's very quick. I know there's probably quite a few people listening today who are maybe not quite in similar situations of having, international teams to speak to, but trying to get all of the approvals inside some large organizations. It can certainly be quite a mission. I can understand.
Yeah, it is.
So when you started to look into your KM project, what were, I suppose, how did we form, or how did you form your project team for your KM tool?
Yeah. Well, I chose people. I have to say I have 8 people working for it, but not constantly and not the whole day. We didn't hire people only for doing this. We took people being there a long time. So my people are about 8 years and longer in the company. They know the company, they know everything, they have the knowledge, a big part in their mind. So they know exactly what is important and what not, because they worked in customer service and they working also in customer service when they are not working for the knowledge base. So I didn't take people who from an IT or from marketing. I have some. I have one from from the technical management, because he is always in touch with the technician doing and repairing the machines. So I needed somebody like who did that, and I have somebody from quality inside to assure the quality and the quality of the information. But the rest, the other people are always and are since 10 years working in customer facing. Surely I choose people working on email and on on social media, because they know how to write.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was the people I took, and I have to say I'm really happy with that, because they know what people need to know when they are in customer service, and the information given is really that what you need when you're talking to the customer. And it's not a management information was maybe important for the manager, but doesn't help you further on the line.
Yeah, definitely. I think we as a business also believe that the best KM writers do come from a customer service background, because they understand, how desperate you can be when you've got someone yelling at you on the phone and you're trying to find information and it's not there, or, those types of things. So having that understanding sometimes is the most critical part to saying, I know how to create this content for my end user. Obviously not the be all and end all, but we certainly agree that you can certainly get some really good KM writers out of your customer service teams. Yeah. So you mentioned you had 8 not working full time, so they were doing.
Yes. What we did was at the implementation, I requested them for part-time, so 50% of the work they were doing on the knowledge base, and the other 50% they were doing on the daily business.
Yeah.
And as soon as the knowledge base was full, it wasn't nice, but it was full. It was really every information were there, but not showing up on a nicest way, because for me it was important everything, put in everything at first, and then in a second step to make it nice. So now they are as soon as it got nice and every information was there, now they are working about well, 3 hours a week on it. Not 3 hours on one day, but always putting in or changing information or changing a product, a picture, what takes you a few minutes. But I still have these 8 people in charge, so that I have the information from the from externally, from the customer, what he wants, and we have to check internally if this is possible, and how do we do it, and then we put it into the knowledge base, and then everybody in the boutique, in the sales department, and in the customer service is working with this information. And at the end, the customer has the right information. And it's not so much work to keep the base alive.
Beautiful. Can you talk us through the main stages and the timings of your project? So I know we said we started in 2020.
I started in November 2020. They said to me, "Oh, can you please search for a knowledge base?" I said, "Okay, I don't know anything about knowledge base. I don't know how to find it, but I will try." And then as I said previously, I went in Google and I asked also information in other Nespresso country and with Nestle also. And I talked with them, and I asked if they know somebody. And well, then they said to me, well, USU is, we also work with USU and they have one. So that was one of the points, but it was not the first contact. The first contact was an Australian knowledge management. And it was very, very good also. It was really, they had nearly everything we needed also, but not the server, what I wished to have, an own server for us. Yeah. They didn't give us that. And then we had, well, and we had the English, so in Great Britain, we also find one, and they also give us nearly everything we need. At the end, we chose USU because it was in Europe and because of the server.
Yeah, yeah. So once you came to that selection, how did you progress that project? What were the other stages that you went through?
Yeah. Then in February, we asked for the go at the headquarters in Switzerland, and the headquarters said, okay, Germany now will start as a project leader for knowledge base, and if the knowledge base is a thing what we can use in future, we will use it then in all country, or we will give the possibility to use it in all country, because they don't say you have to, but they say it should, it would be nice if. So I got the okay in March. Then I went through the IT in Frankfurt, because we are based in Düsseldorf in Germany, but the Nestle is based in Frankfurt, and I went through the IT and through all securities. This is very important for Nestle also to be secure, to be sure that the tool we use is a sure tool. And at the same time, I asked our work council to accept this tool for our people. And well, I was happy that I could start in June, July with the introduction from USU. They gave us, I think 5 days, yes, 5 days, in 5 different days, 2 hours of information, how we can do something and how does this knowledge base work. Well, and finally we went live on the 13th of December 2021.
Wow.
And since then we are working on it, and I have to say it's amazing what we could the KPIs we could achieve since then. It is really amazing.
I have some questions, but I'm going to keep going because I know we're getting short on time, but I think it might come up further along in the presentation anyway. So I suppose the next question that's popped up for us is, what is your level of autonomy with the USU application?
I'm completely, I do everything. So there is nothing that I have to, well, I need them surely if I want new licenses and to enter the new licenses, but everything else, I'm completely autonomy. It's working as a tool of mine.
Wonderful. That's fantastic to hear. Throughout the process, can you tell us if there was any steps that actually required more intervention than others?
Well, there were not. The only thing I already said was to choose the right document.
Yeah.
But not for entering it, no, it's really easygoing. And once do you know exactly where do you have to click, it's like a normal Word document. So it's not so different than if you use Microsoft to enter everything, but it's only to choose the right documents for the customer service. This was the only thing.
Would you have any tasks, I suppose, and any examples of any tasks that were particularly complex? It sounds like the answer is probably no from what we've been talking about.
No, we don't have. No, really not. There are not, because it's a really easygoing tool.
Yeah. Was there any particular processes, I suppose, from an Nespresso customer service point of view that was previously complex that you needed to work into the tool that you were able to use things like guided dialogues for, or it was all pretty straightforward?
No, once you know how, well, you see how it works, and as soon as you know how it works, the only thing you have to see is if you do, for example, this dialogue is, does my client, or does my employee at the end has all type of solution? You know, you have a question, the customer has a question, and the employee has to respond with a question, or he has to know something, and then the customer can say yes or no or another thing, and you have to think about all this possible solution and enter the solution for the dialogues. But once you are in, is no problem. Once you have to have you know, you have to put yourself in a discussion with the customer, and then see all probable responses he will have to give, he can give, and then you do the dialogue like this, and then you're done.
Fair enough.
It's really it's not difficult. Once you did one, you can do the other ones easily.
Now I know the next question came up around how many people you've got working on it, but I feel like we've touched on that previously, so I might just keep pushing along. So what strategy has been deployed with this solution, and how has customer service evolved since you've brought on your KM tool?
Yeah, the quality of the calls are very, very good.
Okay.
The first time resolution is growing, so it's getting better and better. And I wanted to say, I don't want to say perfect, because then after 6 months, it's difficult to say that, but it's getting really, really good. And what we saw also is that we can really let a new employee go on the go his way. He will always find a solution for the customer. If he's there since a week, or if he's there since a year, he will, or 10 years, the customer will get the same solution, and this is amazing.
That's perfect. And I think you also mentioned you had a reduction in your training time as well, from 4 weeks to quite a
to a week only. Yes, it is. At the beginning, we had to give them 4-week lessons, and now we have 3.5 days, and then he can already start to work. Surely he's not open for every skill. To sell coffee is the first we start, and then the second one is information about machine technical issues. But also with the technical issues, he has everything he needs to know, so he can go after a few weeks already helping the people with technical issues.
Wow, that's quite an impressive reduction there.
Yeah, it is.
And it says our collaboration, but what are the progress and benefits of the collaboration between Nespresso and USU?
Well, average handling time, and our net promoter score, and all the KPIs you normally have in customer service are getting better and better, and the people are happy. The employees are really happy because they always have a solution for the customer, things they didn't have before.
That's important.
So this is very, very important.
Yeah,
to let him feel safe, to let him feel he knows everything and he can help the customer further.
No, that's beautiful. I suppose, how are you able to measure these improvements?
Yeah, we measure it with the KPIs. So we measure the handling time. We measure it with the net promoter score, asking our customer how happy they are with Nespresso, and everything of this was getting better and better. Yeah,
that's what you want to see. That improvement in the net promoter score is really a good baseline to sort of see how things have changed once the customer service has improved. So in your opinion, what are the strongest arguments in favour of implementing a good knowledge management approach?
Yeah, well, the best customer service you can give if you have a knowledge management, you have all information you need. You have the same information for everybody in your company. Everything is perfect. So I don't want to say it's a shame not to use a knowledge management, but today you really need a knowledge management.
Yeah, definitely. And as a company that promotes that, we certainly agree with you. The improvements that you can see from moving from the likes of a SharePoint site into a contemporary KM astronomical. Yeah. I feel like this might be coming up to one of our final questions, but how do you see the evolution of customer service at Nespresso?
Well, it's amazing. How I said, the customer doesn't have to wait so long. He has response really in the first at the first phone call, at the first contact. So you can do everything to make customer happy. Really
beautiful.
Really.
And your final question for today, Patrizia, you've done very well answering all of these for us. But just any final comments on on why you would recommend USU after your experience through your KM transformation?
Because they're amazing. They help everyone. Everything you want, they gave it to you. They make it possible. Yeah, it's an amazing product, and well, I even do not find the words, because they are really helpful, and always there, and quick. Also, they're very quick. If you have and something, normally you have questions, they already told you how to, but you forgot. So when you ask something, it's always they are quick, they are nice, they have everything you need. It's I always recommend them.
Oh, beautiful.
And they're international. Yeah.
And they're international. Yes, they definitely are. They've got quite a few names. I lied. This one is your final question. Sorry. So what are your next steps? It sounds like chatbot seems to be your next step.
My baby is chatbot now, and I wanted all people do not need to contact us if they have a little issue with or an invoice or technical issue with the machine, and they can help themselves.
Beautiful.
This is my next step.
Fantastic. We'll just pop this slide up. For anyone who is on the call, I know we'll get to some questions with Fiona as soon as I stop talking, so I'll try and be quick. But if you do have any questions, Customer Driven is the Australian partner for USU, so feel free to reach out. I don't believe I've put my email here, but I will make sure that goes out on our follow-up communications for you. Over to you, Fiona.
Thanks, Nicola. And Patrizia, I want to thank you personally for bringing decent coffee to me, and secondly, for giving me George on a regular basis, because I can't do without George. Just saying. We have so many questions to get through, and we have 6 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock. We're not going to get to all of them, but that's okay. We know who you are. So we are actually going to ask as many as we can, and what we don't get to, I know Nicola and Patrizia will respond later on. So Steve would like to know, most of the contact center platforms offer knowledge-based modules. These may be more cost-effective to implement and integrate. How did you assess these options against best-in-breed options?
Well, can I read somewhere the question, because I was so intent to follow you that I forgot to.
So if you open the chat, Patrizia, and you'll have to scroll a fair way up, because there's been a lot of conversation in the chat, which is great, and it's a question from Steve to everybody.
I can maybe jump in and answer a little bit to start with while you have a look. So yes, there are quite a few knowledge management platforms and knowledge bases that do have all of those different modules. So when you are assessing the options, I suppose, particularly customer driven, when we look at that KM8 methodology that I touched on early in the piece, that is the first point that we would usually come to is, well, what does the application offer? Does it have the basics? Is it going to support your users just with the basic part to start with? Because there are a lot of applications that potentially do some quite fancy things, but they don't support us to enable those really basic elements first. So customer driven is certainly able to help anyone who wants to go through this, but otherwise it is looking at what your minimum requirements are, making sure they are checked off before we start adding any of the additional features. And certainly at this point, the market is talking about omni-channel a lot more, and a lot of the vendors and a lot of the KM platforms are starting to move or have moved into this omni-channel opportunity, I suppose, and providing these features. So if that is key to your business's trajectory, where we're going, where they want to get to, then that's also something we need to keep at the forefront of our mind, is how can we utilize these different modules to support you to achieve those benefits in the future. So there is quite a lot to assess, and I think it does just come down to a bit of a market scan, assessing what is out there and comparing the features side by side, which is something that my team and I do quite a lot. So we can certainly support with that if there is a need to, if you want to reach out, we can certainly run you through some options there.
Patrizia, did you want to add anything, or should we ask some more questions? Let's ask some more questions. Okay, so I know Patrizia, you answered Crystal's questions, which is about what results have you seen since implementation, and you talked about training times, NPS, employee engagement. So we won't go back through that, but we do have some other questions that have come in as well. And Jasmine has about 20 questions in the list, but we probably won't get to all of them. Jasmine wants to know, does everyone in the organisation have access to the same knowledge articles, or are they split to specific processes, even if they are similar?
At Nespresso, we do it like that. We have an outsourcer, and we have all the people working at Nespresso itself. So boutique and sales is employee of Nespresso, and then we have the outsourcer helping us to get the customer service. They have Nespresso has employee has can see everything. What we took off is the information, all internal information. If there is, because we don't use the knowledge management only to give the knowledge for the customer, but we use it also for internal information. And so the outsourcer do not see if we have an internal, how do you say, an internal event and something like that. So events and HR information are given through the knowledge management base also, because everybody has access, but not to our outsourcer. So we use the knowledge management base for everything. Also to get in the boutique, if they need new clothes, because they have special clothes, we also use a form in the knowledge management that they have to fill in, and then this form goes directly to the person who can buy the clothes for them or send them the clothes.
Fantastic. We're down to a minute and a half. I cannot believe this. So one more question, and then we'll go to closing remarks. And I promise we will come back to everybody with answers. And it's a particularly interesting one, given that you're going to bots. That's your baby coming up. Do your customers interact with the knowledge management system, or is it just employees?
For the moment, it's just the employees. This will be the second step. With the chatbot, they will interact. So all information in the knowledge base we will use through the chatbot, and they will go directly to the customer.
That was the answer I'd hoped for, and I'm so glad it was, or else it was the wrong question to ask. So with that, Patrizia, could we have some closing remarks from yourself, and then to you, Nicola, if you don't mind?
Well, it was an amazing hour that I could spend with you, and I'm happy that I could do that. And I'm happy that I'm using USU, and I'm happy with the people working there because they're amazing.
Thank you, Nicola.
No, just, yeah, a big thank you to Patrizia for joining us this morning. As I said, it's very early morning, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. now, so you've got to head off into work now and finish up your day, whereas the rest of us are probably about to log off. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been fantastic to talk through your journey, and thank you to everyone else who has joined the call today to chat and to interact with us. So it's been fantastic.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Patrizia. As Nicola said, getting up at the crack of dawn, now about to get in your car and drive to the office. To Nicola, who has worked through COVID absolutely seamlessly. Well done, you.
Didn't cough.
Didn't cough and didn't sound fuzzy at all. Thank you to everybody else that joined us today and stayed with us to the end. Thank you for your great questions. And thanks to USU, Customer Driven and Nespresso for supporting Auscontact. And we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you might be.
Thank you, Fiona. Thanks.
Bye-bye from Germany.